Hey guys, Dan Heilman back with another Eternal Evolution video. It's been a month since I did my tier list, so I want to revisit it, talk about it. I've made some changes. The tier list is always going to be down in the description on my spreadsheet. There's a bunch of good stuff in here, including tier list, exclusive weapon tier list, gene hybrid tier list. I've updated all three of those. I will make videos on them in the near future here. The only one that's really not up to date is my prototype tier list. I have to do a lot of testing to update this. I put this note saying it's out of date. So take that with a grain of salt. These two down here are going to go up quite a bit higher than they are in this one here. So, okay, let's go through the tier list. I'm just going to go through quickly on all of the heroes. I was going to just do an update on what changed, but it's been a month, so I might as well just go through everyone and why they are where they're at, okay? Very first thing is single target damage dealers. The most used is in the S tier. Again, this is mostly PvE, but I do slightly consider PvP as well because it is general usability, right? So Emma, not the best in PvP. Hunters don't really have a meta here, but as far as single target damage, Emma is quite a beast. She's easy to get. There's evolution events, so you get free stuff. You get a couple free copies of her. You can get 2 free copies. So she's great. Now you have a Xena here. I would love to test her at EX30. I don't know how close she is to Emma, but I have her kind of here just because, yeah, I'm thinking that at EX30, she might be a little bit closer to Emma than someone like Taylor. And again, I don't know if people are going to be EX30ing Taylor because he's an elite. It's a little bit safer always to EX30 triple S's. Okay, Botmark, another great single target damage dealer, puts up not as much damage but adds a debuff that increases your entire team's damage, so that's quite useful. Nautilus, I don't have a huge use case for him. I mean, he's gonna do more damage than Sorietta, so I guess I need to drop her just very slightly, but I don't find a lot of use for him. I built him instead of Pregor first, and I hardly use him. I use him a little bit in Twilight. You can use him in single target fights like Disa and stuff like that, but I mean, we don't really, and you can use him in Altar, etc. But the damage I get from Nautilus is just not what I get from even someone like Taylor, in my opinion. Anyways, you got Randall, and you got Xander, and you got Rakana down here, kind of in this order. Single target damage dealers, now they're assassins, etc. I don't split this out by assassins versus vanguards versus tanks, etc., because I just like this grouping a little bit more, because, you know, you got tanks here, and those are vanguards and tanks. You got single target. Bailey is kind of like a single target and AOE damage dealer. So he used to be a god, literally the best in the game, but there's been so many heroes that come out recently that he's kind of moved down a little bit. The big case for him is if you're a big whale and you start out in the first couple weeks and you can get him Immortal EX30 in the first 3 weeks or so, before you have access to other heroes, for example, Leo and stuff like that, you know, Leo's going to be higher priority, but in the beginning, in the first couple of weeks, you don't have anyone else that you can get. You have access to him just because you can purchase him for $100. Big whales will have that carry their account for quite some time, but he falls off pretty hard when it comes to like chapter 49, chapter 50 plus. I still use him somewhat, but it's going to be in like Terradome and PvP. He's still decent in PvP, although he's getting overshined by the 2 meta teams now, which are Vanguards and Summoners. Anyways, that's my spiel on Bailey. He has been moved down since. AOE damage dealers, you have 2 really good AOE damage dealers. I like having both of them built, and I use them a lot in Twilight and Guild Hunt and whatever, but basically the deal between the 2 is Ravenna has a little bit more damage, and especially during longer fights, a little bit shorter range but a little bit wider range. Luke has longer range but a little bit narrower range. He also has decreased defense. He also has true damage if you build him that way, so it can help in really high stages, but I feel like she might be able to help in higher stages of story as well. That's kind of the spiel on those 2. They're very similar. They're both great heroes, so they're up at the top because they are the best AOE damage dealers in the game. Nagrama I quite like. I think he's a pretty good hero. Kane I quite like. You know, all of these heroes, and honestly, these 2 I haven't tested that much, but I think they're going to be a little bit lower than these 4. But I think all 4 of these heroes are quite good for elites, and if you don't have Luke and Ravenna built up, these are definitely going to be your go-to AOE damage dealers. They're all pretty good. I feel like Nagrama can pump out a little bit more damage than these other heroes. He has a narrow beam versus a AOE, so you know, take that with a grain of salt, okay? Pregor and Moriyami, I have this little arrow thing here saying that these two are great together. And they are. There's not a huge use case. That's why they're in the barely used case. They are triple S's, so they can deal good damage in some content. They're kind of a nice to have feature for the end of Twilight when you're trying to auto those hunter stages down where you have to break multiple shields at the same time. They're AOE hunters, so they're quite good at that. They should honestly probably be just a little bit higher than these two, but I should probably just move them kind of like this. And move this kind of up a little bit just because they are better than these two. They're triple S's, right? So they're going to have better stats overall and a little bit more probably longevity in the game compared to these elites. Got these two on the bottom. I still haven't even tested Mr. Four Shooter or whatever his name is. I can't think of his name for some reason right now. These two are quite low priority. Now, summoners. You got Daniel, the king of summoners. I think overall he has way more use case than someone like Ampu. He's good in PvP, he's good in PvE, he's good in even the spider boss, he's good in the summoner boss, he's good in all the summoner bosses, you know, the second boss in Ancient Altar, he's good in Rise of Heroes, just an exceptional unit, does very high damage, and also has a decent CC. Anpu I put right here, just below Daniel. Another great hero, but works really well with Sorvali. Yeah, these two together are quite strong, but when they're separate, I don't find Anpu anywhere near as strong as someone like Daniel, okay? Skewer, another good summoner, and he's a great buffer, right? He gets attack and defense for your team, and does some decent AOE damage. Compared to these two, is slightly weak. I do prioritize, I think, Anpu just because he is really changing the PvP meta currently, so I bumped him up a little bit. He is basically part of the team. These two that can easily defeat, oh, I don't want to say easily defeat Vanguards, but can defeat Vanguards pretty consistently. Now, Sorvali, I think if you don't have Ampu built, I don't think you're going to get much use out of Sorvali. She's kind of a weak healer and definitely quite bad damage dealer, but has a lot of summons and has CC in her kit, so I think that makes her viable, especially if you're running Anpu. I don't know that I would use her if I don't have Anpu, because you're probably just better off using someone like Masrani over here as a full-out healer, right? Because Masrani also increases the attack and does some buffing and shielding, so I just think he has a lot more general usability than someone like Sorvali, okay? Senway, great damage dealer. He's right here, roughly. Use some. I use him a lot more than I am using Kalaza and Muka. He just is able to bust out some decent damage, especially if he's able to hit 3 targets. He summons an ad that basically throws a little boomerang, hits 3 targets, and puts out quite a decent amount of damage. Now, Kalaza kind of got nerfed when he got changed from a hunter to a summoner, so he's down a little bit. And Muka, I don't have a lot of use case. People were using him in the PvP team that was going against Vanguards, and I don't know. He's kind of like an assassin summoner, but these two are kind of in the barely used section. I don't get a lot of use case out of them. Now, tanks. Yeah, we got Leo up top. He's a god. Crete was the cream of the crop before Leo came out, but Leo just has the death immunity, which is quite strong. So the death immunity basically means that first time he takes damage, he doesn't actually die. He gets like an unkillable for a little bit, and he has a ridiculous amount of lifesteal. So he's just nice because you don't need a crazy amount of healing to keep him alive. Wow, excuse me. He has a lot of lifesteal. You can build him attack with HP subs or HP with attack subs. Basically, you want a lot of attack, a lot of HP, and a lot of damage reduction. Quite a good hero. Just really amazing hero. You got Crete, the second best tank in the game, in my opinion. He also is able to get hyper evolved, which is not a thing that a lot of triple S's have in this game. Only some people can hyper evolve because you need to rank in Twilight top 10, which is kind of annoying. I wish they would change that to at least give some of the fragments to the lower ranks, like top 50, top 30, etc. But anyways, if he can definitely be the second tank here. I haven't tested out Banana Man yet. I just haven't tested him out because I don't have an immortal yet. I want to wait till he's immortal so I can test him out fully. Artis is here just because the triple Vanguard is kind of the new meta and he's kind of the second best. Honestly, I don't have Guan Yu, but I guess he should probably be a little bit higher just because he's a triple S. And you can use him in the triple Vanguard team as well. Now, Oak is kind of nice again for the death immunity. Him and Leo both have the death immunity, and that's quite useful for getting you a couple more seconds when you're taking a lot of damage. He's really good in like suicide teams in Twilight, and he can be used in Arena, etc. Boar was quite a good hero, but now he's kind of overshadowed with the amount of other tanks that are in here. I would love to eventually EX30 him, but he's like 10 down the list. Now, Zyda, I still haven't tested fully. I don't quite know where she's going to land. I do have her Immortal, and I'm going to test her soon, so maybe I'll adjust it as it goes. She could be, I don't know, somewhere, but not high priority because you're basically going to be using gene hybrids on her, so that automatically makes her not as strong as one of these elites if she's in similar strength. You know what I mean? Because you got to use the gene hybrids on her. So she's right here for now. And then you got kind of the bottom tier tanks. You know, honestly, Guan Yu might be here somewhere. I'm not quite sure. Again, it's the only triple S I don't have a copy of. He's only been available in North America for like a couple days, and you had to buy him with data chips. I didn't grab him, and he's never came back. So I would love to build him and test him, but there's no option for me to do that because he's not available on North America servers. Okay, you got these 4 down here in whatever order. Now, let me move this over a little bit and talk about the supports. I think Masrani is the best support. Hands down. Does a lot of AoE healing, shields the back row, even has an attack break, has an increased attack for the back row. He probably does other stuff that I'm forgetting about, but just in my opinion, he is the best support in the game. You also get an evolution event, so you do get... Do you get a free copy of him? Yeah, you get a free copy of him from Astral Event, so that's nice. Serena is also a great healer, and she's a little bit easier to get because she's an elite. I do have mine EX30, and she is a great healer. Rez, he is a great situational support. You use him basically to increase the damage of another hero. He gives them speed and all sorts of things, refreshes the cooldown, etc. So a great support, kind of in line with someone like Serena. Really good use case for stuff like even story, PvP, guild hunt boss, especially Spider. He's really good for beasting up Ravenna and doing that. So yeah, he's right there. But good single target healer. Ends up getting a lot of overheal just because the heals are so huge. But I have used her in Twilight on the last boss in Twilight because my other 2 healers were dead. I think she's probably a little bit higher than Liran. Liran has some uses as an AoE healer, but the heals are quite weak compared to someone like Serena or Masrani, right? Okay, and then in the end here we got these 2. Now, I still haven't tested Annie, and Annie might be a decent, but the only reason I have him quite low in terms of general usability is he gets quite a lot of use from his EX30, but EX30 is so hard to get, very expensive, or takes a lot of time. So I kind of have him down here because you kind of do want him exclusive 30 for him to be amazing. You can get him in the advanced summons, and then you have someone like Hypotenuse here who doesn't have a huge use case. I've used him a couple times in like CC Bond in Twilight in like a throwaway team just to stun the boss, but honestly kind of a useless hero. Should probably be lower than Annie, honestly. I mean, Annie could be something like this maybe. What is this bottom section I have here? Barely used, never used. Yeah, kind of in between barely used and never used is probably a good place for Mr. Hypotenuse. Okay, that's going to be everything for the tier list. Again, this is my opinion, but this is kind of who I tend to use the most. So yeah, hope that explanation was useful, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like and sub button. Have a great day, everyone. See you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like and sub. Have a great day, everyone. Baby Lucas says, hey guys, Happy New Year's. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. You should really hit that like button and that subscribe button. Woo! See you guys.